Is Matt LaFleur talking about Ryan Poles' team, mentioning the quarterback, that's Caleb Williams. He missed one guy, though, didn't he? I mean, whose team is it, in your opinion, Mr. David?
Well, I think that it seems intentional from our perspective. We might be looking for it. Mm-hmm. And I think maybe we're also responding to the fact that, hey, finally somebody gave Ryan Poles some credit. Because he hasn't received a lot in Chicago, frankly, given the success of the Bears this season at 9-3, and maybe we're partly responsible or in part of the problem, if you want to call it that. But when we have been divvying up credit for the Bears' success this season, making them the surprise team in the NFC, one of the best stories in the NFL. We start with Ben Johnson, you go to Caleb Williams, you talk about the defense, we praise Dennis Allen. And then it seems like we get to eventually Ryan Poles and the decisions that he made to put the Bears in this situation.
Yeah, I think it's interesting that you want to take culpability, but you want to drag me into it.
Well,
so,
I'll speak for myself
okay,
then. I'm not speaking for you
I
or
have,
Dustin or Brandon.
You know I love Poles.
Yes.
And I've been nothing but
yes.
a cheerleader for all of his great decisions.
Especially Velus Jones.
Well, he's struggled in the third round. I'm not making that part up.
No, but I think that he does deserve credit for. We've talked about this. This is ground we've covered, and that's why I hesitate, because he did hire Ben Johnson. I think it was fairly obvious once the money was available to afford the best coach on the market, but Ryan Poles was the general manager who hired Ben Johnson.
I thought we gave all the credit to Kevin Warren, or he took the credit for that. I'm confused now.
Well,
did George have anything to do with it?
George might have.
I don't know.
George would have had something to do with it in this regard.
They hired the right coach.
They hired the right coach, and they freed up the money that was necessary to get the right coach. It was, let's face it, as much as Ben Johnson told the great story about the interview, and I want to be here. This is where I want to go. And we have the Cub fandom as a child to point to as the roots in Chicago. And all those things are great stories. And one day it'll be a great movie. Yeah. But I do believe that, yes, they had to make the money matter, and they had to make the offer that they did. Yep. And that only person that could really sign off on that was George.
Okay. I mean, it was a good signing, and I agree with you. I think they did hire the right guy, and I think it's changed their fortunes. I find it interesting that has escaped Matt LaFleur.
Well, I think it's understandable to... Yeah. But he did praise his offense, and I think the one thing you heard in there is the one thing that we have said consistently. Mm-hmm. When it comes to the Bears' running game, the success of the offense is rooted in the design.
Yes.
They make the same look different and the different look the same, whether it's because it's pre-snap motion, whether it's a personnel grouping, but there are ways to confuse defenses before the point of attack, and the Bears do that quite well.
And Ryan Poles changed the interior of the offensive line, and that, as much as anything,
more than anything,
has left this offense. Now, makes you wonder, just the whole Jonah Jackson thing and his connection to Ben Johnson, if he had consultation in that particular element of it. I'm
in
just
off-season decisions where Ben Johnson ended and Ryan Poles began.
But those were correct decisions.
They were correct decisions. Yes. And to me, it's all about the offensive line.
Yes.
This Bears' success, protecting the quarterback and the reduction in sacks.
Yes.
The ability to run the football better than anybody in the league.
No question.
All of these things are because they have an offensive line they can trust and is the strength of this football team. And that should be, generally speaking, the product of some good decisions made by the general manager.
All right. We got a lot of people who want to check in. We'll start with Paul. Paul's on the road. Good morning, Paul. How are you?
Good morning, guys. Let's reverse engineer this thing real quick about the general manager. Mm-hmm. Ben Johnson could have gone anywhere he wanted to. He had his pick of the litter. He knew that this roster was loaded. That's why he came here. That's first. But the second thing I want to talk about, the wide receivers and the deep ball. We have the dogs on offense. The problem is Caleb Williams has to get his completion percentage higher. Once he hits those checkdowns, those curls, and those slants, It's going to draw those safeties up to the line. It's going to give those wide receivers the ability to get some separation. That's when it's going to click. But he has to start hitting these small check downs and these slants, fellas.
Mm-hmm. Good stuff. Thank you, Paul. It's a good point.
Paul, it's a good point to make. No doubt about it. Reverse engineering, whatever you want to call it. I think that there's a lot to discuss, and when you do have success, it's easy to disperse the credit. Equally or unequally, whatever, but Ryan Poles deserves his share.
Let's try Tommy in Lockport. Hey, Tommy.
Hey, good morning. Going back to the gadget plays you guys talked about earlier, I like a gadget play just like anybody, but I can't help but think that Ben Johnson would much rather push these guys around up front and not put your hands in that gadget play to blow the game, because I do feel it's going to be a low-scoring game. I feel like he's going to really try to bully these guys and push them around. What do you guys think?
Well, I think that the Bears have been a physical football team, and I think that comes from the head coach. I think that the key to the success, as we've seen it build, has been the offensive line starting to dominate teams, and I believe it was Olin who told us over the last 3 weeks or so, they've been the best offensive line in football.
Yeah, I think it's fair.
It's a great
you look at the numbers and
they
back it up. And I don't think that one has much. I don't think that you have to do either or. It's actually the more you run the ball effectively and pound your opponent into submission, the more likely and more open and available these gadget plays will be there to be utilized.
No doubt about it. And the other element of it is that the running game, the way it works, you got to remember, is the more you run, the more successfully you run. So if you can start squeezing out first downs and continuing to hold the ball, that frustrates the defense as much as any kind of a gadget play or a trick play could possibly do.
That's all true. And I believe that Ben Johnson will be highly motivated. He's got that competitiveness and that intensity that I just think he won't be able to resist something to put his stamp on this game, or try to. And it will be just like the Bears to rely on the running game, but also there's going to be an element of trickery that I think we're going to see on Sunday.
I think that the running game, based on what happened last week, if you can get that going again this week, that opens up so many different things. Mm-hmm. It really does. Yeah. Because they have to be aware that you're having success at something, and that's going to open up.
What you're trying to do is, if you can possess the ball for 40 minutes this week, you reduce the number of chances that Jordan Love will beat you. Because let's give respect. We talk about giving out respect maybe grudgingly. Jordan Love's the reigning NFC Offensive Player of the Week. It's the second time he's won this year. Mm-hmm. He is in the top 10 in the most important passing categories. He is fifth in passer rating, Mully. He is third, or tied for second with 3 interceptions. He has 19 touchdowns to 3 picks. He's playing at a very high level. And when he plays at a high level, over the course of his career, he has had 115 or more passer rating, and the Packers are 12-0-1 in games where Jordan Love has a passer rating of 115 or higher.
Let's try Dennis. He's on I-88. Dennis, good morning. How are you?
Good morning, fellas. How you doing?
Good. Cold out there, buddy. Warm up.
Oh, yeah.
Keep that heater cranked.
I just wanted to call. I've called a few times over the years talking about Ryan Poles' success, and I knew that when you come into an organization, I knew you had big ideas, but you can't come in and crash the system. You got to game the system, and I stand by, like, he's been doing it since he got there, and putting McCaskey's in the position to allow him to do the things that he's done. We're not here by accident, and when you're going you're going down to your third string on and linebackers, and you're still winning games. I mean, that says a lot about the choices he's made. And I'll stick by it. I thought he probably saw the Ben Johnson thing happening, unfolding years before anybody else did. So I'm a big Poles fan, and I believe in what he's got building up here at Chicago. So I'll leave you with that.
Thanks, Dennis.
Okay.
Appreciate
Thanks,
the phone
Dennis.
call. I think it was pretty apparent to most people in the NFL who follow it closely that the Lions had a special play caller in Ben Johnson.
Yeah.
Not just last season, but the previous year when he turned down a chance to interview or go to the Washington Commanders to stay in Detroit for another season. He was offered a chance to become a head coach a season before he did so. There was a reputation that was growing and continued to last season. So Ryan Poles, while he was the guy that ultimately hired Ben Johnson, was far from the only one that respected him.